This is what has led to the official languages of this country to be English, Kiswahili and silence. For those that the bosses can fire or unilaterally transfer to far-flung areas full of hardships, remember that freedom comes with sacrifice. Hi everyone. I have been called a boy in a government public office. Me, a person who had just crossed the 35 years of youthfulness in this country. A person who has worked for the government for about 13 years now. A father of 2. I was called a boy. And you know, when you interpret that kind of insult in my mother tongue, then the insult becomes 100 times bigger. But kindly allow me not to talk about that incident in this video because of a number of circumstances. In this video, I'm focusing on the issue of bullying at our workplaces. If you talk to any Kenyan about the issue of bullying, most of us, our minds go back to high school when we had just joined Form 1, where the big boys, mostly the Form 2 boys, would bully us, would take turn to bully us, to intimidate us, and to harass us. Fortunately for me, my only experience of bullying happened on my first day in Form 1, when a tall, well-built Form 2 student who used to play rugby, I still remember him, came to where I was seated outside the library of St. Anthony's Kitale Boys and brushed my face, ostensibly to remove cobwebs, and said to me, "Nyinyi watoto mnatuaibisha sana." And while holding my chin, he told me, "Angalia vile hii ni soft kama matako ya mtoto." Apparently, he was comparing my chin with that of his because his chin had already grown some academic fibers. And now he was feeling a little bit ashamed because he was going to be learning with kids, primary school kids, in his opinion. But I want to sincerely thank Mr. Nabangala, our principal, who managed to completely wipe out bullying in our high school. However, what most people don't realize is that the bullying that occurs at our workplaces is 10 times higher than that occurred in our high schools. Like I said before, I have been called a boy in a public office. I have been harassed left, right and center. I have had false charges planted on me. I have seen bosses wanting to misuse their juniors. I have seen people being overworked in the mornings, evenings, weekends, during public holidays, without any or proper compensation. I have seen people being fired, people receiving unjustifiable warning letters that pile in their files and prevent them from getting a promotion. And in the worst case scenario, my high school classmate narrated to me how he was slapped in a government office. I don't even want to get into the area of sexual harassment, which is very rampant at different workplaces in this country and beyond. According to Suni Bindra, a Daily Nation columnist, while writing about why do we tolerate bullies in our organizations in this day and age, he says that it seems many of the bullies of the schoolyard graduated to becoming bullies of the office. Those big boys that used to bully us in our schools are now the leaders of our organizations, the managers of our banks, the head teachers, and the principals of our schools, the company's CEOs, the ward administrators somewhere in the counties, the police boss in the police stations somewhere, the head of procurement somewhere, the foreman of Mjengo somewhere, among others. And they have moved on with their bullying habits to these places of work. They can now officially bully people without or with very little consequences. And given what the late Stanley Matiba said, Kenya is not a peaceful nation, but we enjoy relative calm in a tough neighborhood because we are a nation of cowards. And because we are a nation of cowards, we tolerate these bullies. In fact, we normalize being bullied. We see it as if it is just the boss doing their work, calling us to order, making sure that things are running smoothly in our workplaces. But in reality, it is pure bullying. It has absolutely nothing to do with work ethics. What is common is that mtu huwa anageuziwa, what is called gaslighting in English. And now you are called indisciplined for trying to stand your ground, refusing to be harassed, and for calling out unfair practices at our workplaces. I have seen a bank manager appoint a particular teller to be in charge of the ATM literally every Sunday instead of rotating the role among the bank workers. And perhaps because the guy was desperately in need of the job, he kept on obliging. It is an open secret in the police service that officers are transferred to far-flung hardship areas of Baragoi, Wajir, Mandera and Boni Forest among others, not because of the genuine need of security officers in those areas, but as a form of punishment, bullying and intimidation at work. I can go on quoting several examples, but kindly allow me to stop there. In conclusion, what is the solution to this problem? The first one is for the workers to stand their ground and refuse to be bullied and intimidated. Unfortunately, and I've said it in the past, Kenyans are too scared of their bosses, even in the cases where the boss has no authority to fire them. They are still scared of them. This is what has led to the official languages of this country to be English, Kiswahili and silence. For those that the bosses can fire or unilaterally transfer to far-flung areas full of hardships, remember that freedom comes with sacrifice. Personally, you had better sack me or transfer me to Mandera or Boni Forest than me accepting to be bullied by you. And like I said in this video, I only respect my bosses. I don't fear them at all. The bosses also ought to know and be informed that we do not get the best out of people by whipping them into shape. We get their best by engaging them with a common mission. Thank you so much. I'm out.